Hey, what's up, everyone? Another Wednesday, another live stream. Thank you for joining me. We'll get to everything a little bit. Usually, what I tell people is when you're watching this on replay, it's best if the uh, uh, technical side of things um, straight. So we appreciate that. Angel, thanks for joining. Brian Wagner, thanks for joining. Nice to meet you at the Carnival of Chaos, August 12th. Took some great shots. Matt, what's up? Thanks
Look
for
at this. I'm
joining.
like turned sideways. I don't know how to
Hey,
fix
do you want
this.
me to do that too?
Yeah, let's do that together.
Talk to each other
No,
that
it's
way.
because I'm using my iPad and apparently Instagram hates iPad. Let me switch to my phone. I'll be right back.
All
This
right.
is
I think
ridiculous.
Instagram hates everything, but yeah, that's cool.
Well, they're part of Facebook and
That's
Facebook hates
right.
everything. So that's just
You know how I
par for
feel
the
about
course.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same here. All right.
Cool,
I'll be
man.
back in just a second.
Sounds good. All right. So, um, Brian, where can people get your um, pictures? Where can they find that stuff? You can follow him at underscore BR Wagner. Met him at the Carnival of Chaos. He was just kind of shooting all day. It was awesome. So, got some great stuff. Got this sweet double piece picture of me, which I appreciate. Just give me a second. We'll get the Ro-Bison back on here and we'll talk radio and music and songwriting and all that good stuff. So we appreciate you sticking around. All right. I just quick off the top too. We do have a show coming up September 9th. So we got a couple of things coming up. Maybe I'll just get that stuff out of the way right now. How about that? Chaos Guitars, Dave, thanks for joining. All right. Wagner-images.com for Brian Wagner stuff. Go check it out. Rose Chaos Incarnate, thanks for joining. Oop, did I pick the wrong one? Shit. We'll see if that works or not. Yes, not
All
sideways
right.
anymore.
No,
All
it's not. But now only like part of my face is in here. Now it's fine.
right. So usually what I tell everyone they're watching the replay is like, listen, if you're watching this on replay, I would skip forward 2 to 5 minutes and get right into the interview part. So I usually give people a heads up there.
Oh, we didn't have to
And
wait that long. I'm pretty good at this, getting into the live stream since I
oh
do it
yeah,
all
and
the
it's not,
time.
and yeah, I'm not saying it's on your side at all.
Oh no, no, I know, dude, because like you start streaming, like even on my show, we start streaming and like a lot of times I'll just have music playing. It'll be like half a song because when you click, and we stream to multiple platforms, but when you click streaming on OBS, it takes a minute for it to register all of the things. And
Yeah,
so you can't start, you have to wait till they all stream up. And that could take like 30 seconds to a minute depending on your internet connection. So
for
um,
sure. And I want to touch on that a little bit later and why we chose Instagram to stream on because it's not the greatest streaming
yeah,
platform,
it's
yet here we are. Uh, just real quick, shout out to Beautifully Broken Goddess. Thanks for jumping on, Angela. Rain Sparkles, my bad. She says, hey, 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 right back at you. Yeah, just a reminder, everyone, any questions for the Ro-Bison, you can just dump them right in the comments and we'll read them off for you. Yeah, so I'll just read something off the top and we'll get started.
all right. Done.
All right, hello and welcome to the Bellwether Virtual Live Stream, where we discuss music, the local Lehigh Valley, PA scene, bands, social media, and more. Today is Wednesday, August 23rd. Woohoo! My birthday is gone. Nothing but cold weather to come. I guess we'll just wait for Christmas. My name is Mike, and I'm the vocalist guitarist of Bellwether Ritual. Hope you had a great week. Our next show is coming quickly. This was just announced, which is fucking awesome. September 9th in Harrisburg, PA, with Brutality, Hate Machine, and The Galaxy Has Eyes. So when we got that news, we just got kind of blown away, and we were super excited about it. So we're going to be opening the show. So yeah, we're going to have a whole bunch of things to roll out by then, hopefully. And yeah, we're excited about it. And let's see what else. Tonight, our guest is the Ro-Bison. He runs Radio 717 out of Lancaster, PA, where he streams almost daily. Cheers to that, man. I can't even do it once a week. He also has a studio where he interviews bands and they come in to perform, like multicam, the whole nine, which is also awesome. So, yeah, we'll talk to him all about that and more. Ro-Bison, thank you for joining. How's it going, man?
It's going good, man. And like, don't tell people to skip forward. That was a hell of an intro. I don't even do that on my show. I just say, "Hey, I'm here. Welcome." Like, I don't know. I'm not good with that formal shit. You asked me for a bio, and I quoted Tropic Thunder at you. So
Yeah.
like, I'm just not very good at the formalities when it comes to the streaming thing.
Nope,
So.
really cool. Neither am I. I'm just like, I need something to introduce people with, and it just helps me to like write stuff down. So that's just where that came from, honestly. And I want to talk about that too. Is just really quick. Is there anything like there's a lot you got going on? So why don't you plug some of those things that you want people to know about right off the top?
Yeah, well, I echo the show that you're doing with Brutality and Galaxy Has Eyes. I mean,
Yeah, thanks, man.
that's gonna be the shit, dude. And I'm hoping I can get there, but my work schedule's wonky as fuck. Like, I try to stream every morning for the morning shuffle, like just getting the radio show going, and
Hmm.
like sometimes I have to skip because I don't have 9 to 5 job like most people. It just kind of happens when it happens. So, and on that note, I've been up for almost 37 hours right now. I think by the end of this, it'll be 38 hours when we finish this, and I need to get some sleep. But
There you
I did not
go.
want to miss this because I respect the work that you do and the music community here in Pennsylvania. So
Yeah, well, thank you very much for that. So you heard chat. If you have any questions, you want the truth of, dump them in the comments,
oh yeah,
and Ro-Bison
when you
will.
don't sleep for 37 hours, like shit just pours out of your mouth.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like it's like I'm not responsible for my words, but oh yeah, you're always responsible for your words. You like those people that were taking Ambien and saying dumb shit years ago, they
Ooh,
were still
man.
responsible.
Whew.
They were still responsible for
Yeah.
it.
I mean, you have a few too many drinks, and you don't. Yeah, kind of. Uh, things can change greatly too. Beautifully Broken Goddess says killer show. Thank you. Yeah, we're excited about it. What else? So yeah, actually, can you just really touch quickly on how bands could submit to your playlist on Spotify and get on the stream?
So right now, it's really complicated, and I do most of the work. Um, we
Amen.
don't. One of the things that's really important to me, it's very, very important to me for a couple reasons. Like I don't want to play anything on my radio streams that I don't have permission to play. And it's important to me because if a band doesn't like what I'm doing and I play their song on my stream and they get upset with me because I'm doing it, then I don't want to, I got to have permission. And I got to do it manually because we have a generally broken copyright system when it comes to online, which is the only way we can promote ourselves as bands and as musicians is through social media right now, because that's all anybody is really paying attention to. I mean, there's people that go to the live shows, and live shows are picking up a lot more after COVID, but it
Amen.
becomes very manual. So to submit your music, I generally solicit Facebook in like different groups, like Band Together is one of the groups on Facebook that I solicit a lot of music from, and I'll just, say things like I'm looking for this, or hey, I'm looking for more followers on Instagram. Shoot me your Instagram link, or shoot me your YouTube link, or shoot me your Spotify link, and then I check out the music, listen to it, make sure there's not any um, stuff that I don't agree with, particularly some of the more extreme political views out there that like are bigoted. I don't put that stuff on my stream, and I try to screen
Good
everything
idea.
that's on there. But yeah, really good idea. I'm not playing those games. But it's really a manual process. I would like to get it to the point where people would go to like a central place and like submit those things, and then I could kind of go through them that way. Like my brother, who is Roby, he does the DIY or Die show.
Oh,
Not
wait, for
Live
real?
Free.
He's Roby?
Yeah, yeah, he's my brother.
Oh,
So,
okay.
but he does the Wednesday show, like the one we did earlier today at
Mind
9:30. So
blown.
it runs 9:30 Eastern, and he does that. But him and I have been trying to push Discord as a way for bands to come in and submit
Ooh,
their links, because it's really a good place for groups of people to get together and
yeah.
submit stuff in a format that allows me to go more through it a little more methodically, because when I submit a Facebook page post, I get dozens and dozens of of requests, like dozens of Spotify links, and I'll go to each and every one of them for a while. Like I do it for a couple days or a week or whatever, and then I kind of have to pause on it and either resubmit and come back. You know what I mean? Like resubmit another post and come back to that post, or I have to go find the post that I did from all the people that or we'll put it out, and then a band will share it, and then there'll be three different shares of the same post with several different bands on it. So it gets really complicated doing that, and it becomes a very manual and lengthy process. So there's people who submitted multiple times because they don't know if I've listened to it yet. But I assure you, I try to get to all of them. It's just I think the last time I submitted, I don't know what the number was, but I know I went from like 115 on the database, which has one song from each band, to now we're over 150, and that was the last time I submitted it. And I looked at each one of them, but I kept getting more and more people posting in those pages posts, and I haven't been back to it yet. I'm trying to get back to it, but it's like I said, it's one of those things that's time consuming because you got to listen to a song.
Oh yeah.
And like a couple songs. I don't just listen to one. Like a lot of people will submit a specific song and I'll listen to it, and it may not be what I'm really into, but everybody has, most people have more than one song on there. And so I'll look through the list and I'll click something. Okay, that doesn't hit with me. This one hit with me. And then I'll put it into the playlist. So
Yeah.
I'm not just like taking the song that you submit to me. I'm honestly going through them and trying to find the ones that I like. Like I'm putting the music that I like in the database from the songs that you're playing, and I'll swap those out too, because even if I'm really pressed for time and I'm trying to get a new one on there, I like what I hear, but maybe not that specific song, I'll put it in there.
Yeah.
And then I'll come back and listen to the band later, and I'll find another one I like better and then swap out the song in the playlist. So that was probably a very lengthy answer to your question.
That's perfect. So let me just shout a couple of people out. So Geode Riffs, go check out Geode. They're going to be putting out a new song, I think this weekend. Is that correct, guys? As well as playing Plant Fest. Feel free to dump the info in the comments there. Deep Pockets Jordan is the drummer for Geode Riffs. So shout out to Geode. Go check them out, Geode Riffs.
Geode's awesome. Like we play, just because I know Geode because we play squared. Is it squared circle? I'm trying to remember.
Circle, yeah.
Squaring the circle. Yes, 37 hours. I'm missing some suffixes and words, but Geode's awesome. I love playing their song on there. It's instrumental, which is unique for most of the playlists.
Yeah,
songs that we have. It's complex. The dudes from The Implication, when they were on our radio show, actually wore a Geode shirt. I was like, wow,
cool.
Geode, Geode, right? Because it was not long before that I put him in there. And anyways, sorry. I just wanted to say that I like Geode's
totally
music.
Cool. I feel like they have, and they described it as this as well. When I listened to it, I was like, oh man, that's totally right on the nose. It's Pink Floyd meets Tool. And I was like,
yeah. Very, very prog. Both bands are prog. You got 70s prog meets whatever decade Tool is. Aren't they in 3 decades? 90s,
I think so. Good
early 2000s, and then
what
the
decade
aughts.
Are we in? I forget. Yeah,
like Fear Inoculum came out in 19, right before everybody got afraid of inoculation.
Yeah,
they didn't even know that was going to happen.
I know, right?
Anyway,
yeah.
So,
shout out to Pointopotamus too. Thanks for joining, man. And Jordan says, "Yep, Friday for the new song." So we'll look forward to that. Angel says, "I love that song. Cool." And Jordan says, "Thank you guys. No problem, man. Thank you for jumping on here and being a part of this." All right. So that was cool for sure. I want to go. Let me real quick. Are you a morning person?
No. That's why it took. That's why it took so long for me to finally say, "Fuck it, I'm getting up early and doing this." Because the morning time when I'm running the morning shuffle is like the time where I can do it consistently.
Yeah.
Like most people are doing it in the evening because their work schedules are evening, but the morning time is usually the time when it's best for me, except on rare occasions, to make sure that I can consistently stream. And it took me a month. We started this thing in November, and I didn't finally just commit to it till maybe a month and a half ago to trying to do it every morning. So the answer is no.
And so how do you and you're like 7:30 to 8:30? Was that the window in the morning?
Yeah, and sometimes we go a little longer. It depends what we're doing because my work does start ish around then, and it's nice because like I found doing it. It's not like what I'm doing is like a radio show, and I don't really like put my face on there in the morning because nobody wants to see my bald, my bed hair, my bed
I
head.
hear you. I run
But
this live stream. Yeah.
but I mean, I'm not always in the studio either. Like our studio's not like a place I can get to every morning, and that was another thing that was keeping me from really trying to do it every day because I thought I had to have my camera and my nice setup going. And so I kind of switched for a little while. I was doing the background filter when I first started doing it in the morning, but it looked like shit, so I just stopped doing that. And I just do voiceovers. And the good thing about that is it allows me to like spend time doing whatever needs to be done. So if I got to get work to do,
Yeah.
then I do work. If I have time, I'll hit Facebook and look at some. But most of the time, it's getting like the techie part of my job done in the
Oh my
morning. And
God.
so it gives me time to get that done so that I have time for other stuff later. So
Very cool. Rain Sparkle says, I listen on my way to work. Yes, I agree. So do I. It's a great time. I usually grab it on YouTube and just throw it up on my car, which CarPlay. Yeah, very
yeah,
cool.
you're not going to look at anything other than so preface that I do. So the other thing that happens when we do the radio show is I find all the flyers on Facebook,
Yeah,
and
those are
that's
super
manual.
cool.
Like
Yeah.
that's manual too. Like I have to save the post when I see it on my phone, and then I go back and add it
Yeah.
into the OneDrive file so that it like shuffles in the background because the live events are really still important in the music scene. And if people don't know how to get there or don't know that they're happening, they're not going to happen. Like it used to be back when I started playing music 20 years ago that you would go to Guitar Center and you would have like a bunch of the flyers like fluttered around there, or they'd be actually on the street posts on the
Yeah.
corners if you were in a downtown area,
Yeah.
or you would know somebody who knew somebody and you would get a flyer that way. But like with the invention of Facebook and social media, like people are getting their information but Facebook. But I know every single person in the music scene here in PA has at some point seen a flyer they didn't know about a week after the show is over. And I try to keep those updated so that they're like posted. And then in the morning, if there's a show going on that night, I'll say, hey, this show's happening. And then I'll play a song from a band that's at that venue. And, during the weekdays, there's not as many as there are on the weekend. But I do try to like shout out to the events because it's
Yes.
extremely, it's extremely important because most of the musicians in Central PA and most musicians in general don't really do it from their bedroom. Some do. I mean, during COVID, I did. I wrote a few songs and put them up,
Yeah, I want to talk about
and
that
that
too.
happened during COVID. But musicians want to play in front of people, and they want people to enjoy their music in the setting where they get to play it as a performer rather than just a home recording artist. At least when it comes to rock bands.
For sure. Let me just catch up on the stream here.
Yeah, no
Rain
problem.
Sparkle says she's a morning person. I also am a morning person, I feel like, but man, some mornings is difficult. She says, "Love you both. Thank you very much." See, the Borderline joined. Thank you guys for joining. They were on, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? And we had
It was
we had
last
an awesome
week.
time. Yeah, those guys are hilarious.
Yeah, when
So
they were on my show, it was awesome. I love that band. I love their music too. Like it
yeah,
was it was funny, and I'm because they're on here when they came to my show and they did a sound check and they started playing a song. And I go, "Oh, is that running on empty?" And they're like, "Yeah, yeah, that's running on empty, man." I listen to this music before people come out.
yeah,
Like I don't pick bands to be on my show just because they agreed. I pick bands to come on my show because I like them and I think that they're important to the music scene, and I'd have a lot more bands on if I could. There's only so much time, right?
yeah.
So
The Borderline says we love you.
yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you, the
we love you too,
Borderline.
man.
Yeah,
No, Noah, Christian, and all of them.
yeah.
Uh,
So
my brain is farting.
yeah, yeah. It's the sleepless
It
stretch
is. It
here, the
is.
home stretch. So what are the things that you're listening for when you're listening to these songs? Of like when you think like, are there songwriting things that you're specifically listening for, or are you just
I'm
going?
So one of the things that I can see might turn people away from my particular brand of radio is that when you have a normal radio station, you got a country station, you got the alternative rock station, you got I don't know if there's a metal station
Oh, I
anymore.
get you.
Usually
Yeah.
they're rock. They're like radio stations in general when they're over air are very genre specific. I don't do that because
Hmm.
I'm not the kind of person that says I don't like
Yeah.
jazz or I don't like heavy metal, I don't like doom metal, or I don't like emo. It's not about that for me. Like music in general. And I feel this at the core of my being. If you listen to songs over and over, they become a part of you, whether they're, I mean, they're whether they're like, I don't want to say whether they're good or not, but when you first hear a song, that doesn't necessarily, and you don't like it on the first listen, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad song.
See, some of
Like
my
it,
favorite songs happen like that.
yeah, they grow on you, right? And like
Yeah.
I'll find myself, singing or having a melody from a song I listened to several times off these playlists, in my head later, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, that song needs to go into the database playlist, or that needs to go in another one. But like music really is the repetitiveness that you hear it over and over. So back in the 90s and early 2000s when radio, MTV, and all that stuff was still a thing, it was on repeat,
Oh
right? You
yeah.
would hear it and then those songs would get in your head, even if it was like maybe not the best or I'm trying to there like those songs that got overplayed in your head too, where
Oh
like
yeah.
I don't like this anymore because it's overplayed. Like, but really songs in general, when I hear a song, to answer your question specifically, I think, there's somebody wrote this and it was important to them. And it was a song either that they wrote and nobody heard it because it hasn't been on the radio or it's not famous. And I want
Hmm.
to make sure people have an opportunity to express their artistic ability and express themselves because music is that like kind of connection that you have. It means something to you when songs are part of your life. Like everybody can think of a specific instant where a song cheered them up, or a song made them feel better, or a song made them, mad because they were angry at something and they were able to express those emotions through that
Yeah.
song. And when you're a songwriter or you're an artist, like I do write songs. So when you're a songwriter or you're an artist, a musician, those kind of things need to be expressed and something that, somebody hears on first listen and says, I don't like that. There might be some really good lyrics in there. There might be some really good melodies in there that catch on and you feel it. It's really important to me that people get that platform back because the MTV era is pretty much gone now, and that makes me sad.
Yes, indeed. Dave from Chaos Guitar says, well said. Rain says, oh yeah, Chaos is here too. Yes, they both are. So thank you for jumping on, everyone. And Rain also says 100%, which I agree with. Yeah, maybe can you talk a little, I feel like the internet hitting and all of a sudden like everyone's a producer and everyone's a guitar player or everyone's this or that. Like it kind of in a way it stopped the gatekeeping, which is cool, but also you could see where that kind of came into play and helped things move along quicker. Can you maybe just talk a little bit about the difference that you see like now as compared to like when we grew up and how you did things back then?
Yeah, I mean, what inspired me to be a musician was just like that, like I was telling you, that opportunity to be able to express myself in a way
Yeah.
that allowed me to somewhat journal. Like I've been writing songs for probably since like sixth grade, even before I knew how to play guitar, because I got my first guitar when I was 15.
Hmm.
But in my head, I'd be dealing with like my home life or whatever. I didn't have a great one when I was growing up. And I would express that through thinking about songs in my head,
Hmm.
writing lyrics that would allow me to express myself that way. Um, to really get like at your answer when I was growing up, what inspired me was like looking at the things on MTV or I'm probably going to be dating myself when I say this specific one, but there used to be this channel on cable called The Box. I don't know if
Oh,
you
I don't know
remember.
that one.
Maybe it was just a
No.
Texas thing. So basically, it was like a radio station where it was a TV-like thing,
Uh-huh.
and you would call in, and then you would vote for the next song that come on. So at the bottom of the screen, it said which song, which music video do you want to see next? There'd be like four or five, and then you would call in, and then you would dial tone press the number of the one you wanted to
Oh,
listen to, and so
gotcha.
everybody would vote, and it was called the box, and then it was just a hodgepodge of all sorts of songs, and so I found Boys to Men through
Yeah.
that channel, and Bone Thugs
ABC,
through that
DVD.
channel,
Yeah.
and then I
Yeah.
also found uh, Mother Love Bone through there and
Oh,
Nirvana.
cool.
Like a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
like that channel, like it allowed me to really like not stick myself into a genre box like I am now. Like I
Yeah.
was trying to, because I'm rambling a little bit because I've been
That's
awake so
cool.
long,
Yeah, yeah.
but
Part of the
it's
show.
kind of yeah, it's kind of like it allowed me to like really explore genres that I wouldn't really have thought of otherwise because it had that voting kind of feel to it. And then MTV, of course, when I got older and more, interested in the rock side of things, because there was a period of time where like I felt like I had to be like the punk rocker, the grunge guy, or whatever. The Tool was my one of my favorite bands for a while,
Yeah,
primarily
man.
because their videos were so awesome.
Yeah.
But I mean, that whole era of like just turning on the television and listening to the music that come through, or having the VJs like put the music through, or even just the radio. Like I'm going to date myself even further, and back when I was first starting to listen to music, we had tape cassettes,
There
and
was
you
a
would have
time.
that. Yeah, you would have the blank tape
Yeah,
in the tape
man.
recorder. You'd had record pressed down, and hey, you'd unhit pause as soon as that song ended, and it was kind of a game to try to get the DJ out of there so that you could
Yeah.
have like a clean cut. You'd make these mixtapes off the radio mix, and like that's basically dead. Music has become a commodity because it's so ubiquitous and easier to make now. Like, and that's great because we get all this great music and people have the opportunity to express themselves, but it's also the double-edged sword because you get um, corporations like Spotify that basically just abuse us.
Yeah.
Like they get us, and then even the distributors that we work with, like CD Baby and DistroKid, to get onto
Oh,
Spotify or onto
yeah.
Apple
Yeah.
Music. They
Yeah.
they abuse us. Like every single step in it, there's somebody trying to take money from us, and there's not a way for us to monetize it in a way that allows us to actually make money on music anymore. And then when you look at the companies and the record companies and what they're pushing out, it's not necessarily good music anymore. People that have talent, it's cheaper for them to find an Instagram influencer and promote them into a music from whatever songwriting think tank they got going on in Nashville and make money off of one person than it
Yeah.
is to find a talented group of people like the Borderline or Void Hidden or Lyndhurst even or Dinosaurs in Paris, which it's a damn crime that Dinosaur in Paris has as few listeners on Spotify
Jeez.
as they have. They are
There's a
fucking
lot of great,
amazing,
yeah,
as they
a lot of
define an
great
easy
stuff.
core band. And there's a lot of stuff here that's just really good, and it's being completely skipped over because now they have to share the residual payments with five people in a band instead of just the one person that already has a following on TikTok or Instagram. So I feel like music has been commoditized to the point. Um, oh, I already do the Borderline. I already do. We played a song. So I saw his comment. He said,
Yeah,
"Would we
yeah.
have hip hop or rap on our stream?" So there's an artist with called The Next. He's in the database, and there's another one called the Scott Brothers, I believe is the name of the rap duo in that, and they're both on the stream. I played both of those. I played those both on there. I like everything. There's also a band called X Little Wing X, like X Little Wing X, and they're more like an R&B kind of dance thing, and it's really great music to listen to, and they're in there. So it's everything: country, rock, punk. I think we have a lot more punk in there overall because me and my brother Roby both really like punk, and we grew up on punk and ska, and so we tend to gravitate towards that.
Sure.
My brother's really been into the ska music scene and folk punk music scene for years, and so he already has a lot of bands that he's reached out to in the past and has connections with. Um, and on that point, before we move on to your next question, Mike, to get where I was going with this, like I'd like to see the MTV era back. And what's really cool that's different than what we had with the in tying it back to that program, The Box, where people got to vote on what they wanted to listen to. We're in a unique position now as musicians where we have social media to be able to like reach out to each other and say, I
Yes.
want to listen to your song, and I want to listen to your song. and we should team up and do an event together, or we should share each other's music. Like we're in a unique position too, where the people that we to our audiences, not necessarily musicians, but people can actually interact with us on a personal level.
Yeah.
When MTV was around, that wasn't really a thing. You had Carson Daly kind of filling in for you, asking your questions, right? But you can get on this stream right now and ask me a question, and then I will immediately respond to it. And when you're on my program, we can. One thing I would like to do more, because that idea of being able to interact with the musicians that you like is important to me, is I would like to do
Yeah,
like
man.
exactly what we're doing right now, where you come in you invite me into the Instagram stream, and then we chat, but in the format of a radio show. So if you come to the
Hmm.
chat and we're like playing your music,
Yes.
and then you want to talk about your next event, and you're in the chat, and I was like, oh, hey, there's Rain Sparkles from Burden of Guild. Hey, do you want to pop in here and talk about your music? Or Josh from Burden of Guild, or you from Bellwether Ritual. And like that personal interaction can happen now where it couldn't happen 20 years ago. And so we're in that position where we can interact with our fans in a way that could never be really interacted before, because it's spread out. When I say it's commoditized, it's because the record companies have commoditized it to the point where they can make, money verbatim by doing safe things,
Hmm.
and they make sure that our side of it, where we're actually being talented and trying to do things, is to keep the price of our shit low so the price of their shit can be high. And they want to make sure that they can charge $500 per ticket to go see Tool or Taylor Swift. Both
Yes.
two
Crazy, man.
bands that I like, but you know what? I can go watch 50 shows for the price of a Tool ticket. I could go see Galaxy Has Eyes with you guys. I think your ticket is what, $20? I,
I
I
don't
don't I
know.
don't remember. I don't
Neither.
look at the price, because I'm
Maybe
just gonna go and pay
Dave
whatever
or someone
price they
else
tell
knows.
me.
Yeah, and they can
But
pop it in the
but regardless, you can go see
comments.
Hate Machine, Bellwether Ritual, Galaxy Has Eyes, and Brutality all in one show for, and you could go to that show. What's 20 divided by 500? Uh, five times, 25
Oh man.
times. You could
Yeah, yeah.
so if you have
Math.
$500 that you're gonna go burn on
Let me
Tool,
math
and
real quick.
I love Tool, but
Oh, me
if you
too.
got $500 you're gonna burn on Tool, you and 25 of your friends can go see all four of those bands together and show up with 25 people. If you have $500 you're gonna blow on some artists that don't need your fucking money, you can go and take 25 of your friends with you to go see Brutality play
Support.
with Bellwether Ritual,
Yeah, man. That's
and
cool.
or Burden of Guilt playing with the Borderline, because that's happening in DC on the 2nd,
Yeah, that's an awesome
or
show too.
going this weekend to see Big Gorgeous with And Also Bye. I mean, all these bands cost nothing, and you could bring 25 people with you and start your own mosh pit for the same cost that it's going to cost you to go see Tool play. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
So
All right, let me shout out a few people. Natalie
sure.
Miola, thank you for joining. Pointopotamus Marty, first of all, thank you for coming to COC and being awesome. And yeah, he says he hearts the box, which there you
Hey,
go. We got
somebody else
someone
knows about
else.
it. I've
Yeah,
I've told people about the box several times, and they swear to me they never exist. So it's actually nice that somebody else knows what I'm talking about, because I
so
feel
there you
like
go.
that Mandela
Yeah,
effect. Like I lived in an alternate universe
yeah.
sometimes where
It
some
had
people
to have
remember it.
existed. Yeah. Rain says, haha, cassette tapes. Yo, my first recording experiences before I even had an instrument was I got a tape deck that could record off a microphone, and I used to record MTV and like whatever songs I would like. I would try to snap. We make fart tapes and shit too as kids or whatever. But like, that's I feel like it's a rite of passage. But like also like try to snip all the good MTV stuff, and to your point, it was like all mixed up. It wasn't just any genre or anything like that. So very cool. She also says she found one of her first recordings back in '98. Oh, you're gonna have to release that shit. Let us all hear it.
Oh yeah, when I first started writing music, I used to have one of those pocket tape players with
Yeah,
like the little tiny cassette in it, and
yeah.
then I would just play it. And it would make the shittiest quality songs, but I was able to get like my
The
ideas out
idea.
on the tape
That's so
recorder
important.
with. I
Yeah.
wish I had some of those. And I think when I started writing the music and stuff, I at one point had those school binders, like the ones that you
Yeah.
get in school, the folders.
Yep.
completely stuffed full to the point where they were this fat, and I had three of them full of poems that I'd wrote to songs I had in my head before I even knew how to play an instrument.
That's
And I
cool.
lost all of those. I have
Uh,
no idea where they are, but
yeah.
it allowed me to learn how to write lyrics and become much better at it as I got older. But
I should look. I think I have a stack of cassettes somewhere, but I don't have anything to play them on anymore, so I don't even know.
you just go to
Uh,
Goodwill. I'm sure you'll find something to
oh yeah,
play
that's a
it
good
on.
point. Yeah. Dave from Chaos Guitar says he had 8 tracks.
Oh yeah.
So
My
yeah,
dad had an 8 track in his Pinto, I think,
yeah.
when I was a real
Uh,
young kid, and he played the same Steely Dan tape over and over again. So
yeah, that's kind of the downside, right? Like my
yeah,
dad had like one or two like tapes of just like a mixtapes, and we heard those things 10,000 times.
yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Marty says I have a cassette player in my car because my car is old. Yeah.
They don't even
Sometimes
put
I wish.
CD players in
No,
cars
man,
anymore.
you can't get anything anymore. It's crazy. Uh, Chaos Incarnate says same. Uh, let's see here. What else? Total Request live stream. Marty says, yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
Kinsey
I
says
I would
hello. Thanks, Kinsey. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean that's kind of what my inspiration was for the studio was like looking at the shows like 120 minutes with Matt Pinfield,
Yeah, man.
who I really
Oh,
like. I took my hairstyle from Matt Pinfield. I didn't
actually
really, but
wanted to talk about him because one of the you were talking about before about having access to artists. Like I follow him, and
mhm.
one of my goals is to get interviewed by him. I think that would just be like an
Yeah, that would be
awesome
awesome. So
thing.
so
But
he's actually on Space Zebra with on like I think Wednesdays. So
so,
well, he's on the same channel. He's on DW Presents. So Space Zebra I think runs Tuesday and Thursday or Monday and Wednesday, and then Matt Penfield has a show on there, and it's whatever day that Space Zebra and the is it the Gun Show? There's two shows that I've
I
seen
don't
on there.
know.
But anyway, he has a live stream show on Twitch on the DW Presents. I am ashamed to say that I haven't watched it, but it's hard for me to watch evening live streams a lot because of the work and family, you know. So.
Yeah, hell yeah. But I'll like even respond to him on Instagram and he'll write back and I'll be like, holy shit, Pinfield wrote me
Really?
back. Yeah, yeah.
Ah, man,
Or he'll like something, whatever, and then it just kind of trips you out. And it's like, you don't think about that. Like growing up, you were lucky if you could actually see the band from as far away as you were without like binoculars or something. And now you have like, you could literally just DM them at any, I mean, I guess not the band directly, but in some cases, yeah.
yeah,
Pretty,
some people are more, you know, social media friendly, like apparently Matt Penfield.
yeah, yeah.
I follow him on Facebook too and see what he's up to. And, you know, like he was one of my, you know, I guess I didn't really like Carson Daly much, but I definitely liked Matt Pinfield. I really liked 120 minutes. And then
Fuck yeah.
he did another show that was more, 120 minutes, I think was metal focused, or maybe I'm wrong. Did he do, was he doing
Headbangers
Headbangers Ball?
Ball. I
Yeah, I
think
think
for a
he
little bit at
did. I
least.
think
Yeah.
he did that too. And then I remember Kurt Loder would do the news, right? So
Yeah. He just
they would
stopped
have
recently.
MTV spin on the news.
Yeah.
I'm not doing news events. That shit's annoying and
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
like it. But the TRL thing and
local band
interviewing
news.
bands, I
Yeah.
mean that's really why I've done it is because I would like to bring MTV back. I'd like to have you know, a group of VJs that do the MTV thing.
You need
Speak
a good jingle.
yeah, so it would be nice to get to that point, but like we're doing a lot of stuff with Effigy Entertainment and you know with my streams, and it's got a really good response. Like I just started TikTok about
Oh,
less than a
bless your
month ago. It's
soul.
not even been 28 days yet,
I can't
and
blame myself.
I mean I was trying not to, but I mean the reality is the people that are listening to new music and always
Yeah.
have listened to new music are the age groups that are younger, like under 25, maybe even up to 30. Like, and a lot of people listen to new music. I'm not saying that our age group's not, but if you go to work with a non-musician and you ask him what he listened to yesterday, he's going to tell you something that he listened to and learned 20 years ago when he was a teenager and 20 and in their 20s. And the younger audiences at TikTok have really responded very well to this. I've been on there for 28 days and I'm already over
Wow.
500 followers on TikTok. And I haven't done a single video where I just show up and start talking about random shit, which seems to be popular on TikTok because I'm
Yeah.
not really into the TikTok thing, but I go in there and see what people are doing, and it's received a lot of followers from everywhere, and it's really in that younger under 35 group, like the 18 to 25
Yeah, man.
and the 25 to 34. And I think I want to get to the point where I can live stream through TikTok, and I'm not quite there yet. I think you have to have 1,000 followers before you can live stream on TikTok.
So there
So I'm
you go. Hit
halfway
them up.
there.
Yeah.
So if you have a TikTok, go follow me.
Follow the man.
And
Yeah.
which brings me to my next point. So Mike
Oh yeah. You
and I
want to break some news?
yeah. So we did want to announce, and we would have done it a lot cooler if we could figure out the technology of side things before here. But I had a work emergency, which is why I've been up so long, and so we didn't really get a chance to fix the tech side of it. But Mike I'm going to start streaming through Bellwether Rituals Facebook
Yeah.
and YouTube channels, and Mike's going to start streaming through our channels. So we're going to be teaming up so that we can bring the VJ reality to pass. And we're working on how we're going to implement that. But one of the problems we have right now is that Instagram has not given, despite Mike working on this for what, you're like almost a year now that you've been doing
Close
these
on a
streams,
year. Yeah.
he doesn't have access to Live Producer. And Live Producer is the
Crazy.
way that we can use the computer to stream to all platforms. So we can't use a phone to stream to Facebook and YouTube at the same time. I have to use my computer. And if you saw me at Chaos 3, I had a ridiculous looking setup over there with a freaking MacBook, an iPad, and a freaking computer because I'm using the computer to stream to all platforms.
Yeah.
So what we need you to do, like seriously need to, and I'm all of you on here follower, but you need to get Mike over 1,000 followers on Facebook. And I just looked, you're like 50 away. And I think the cutoff point where you can like get the invite is after you get over 1,000
Oh, for Instagram,
followers
I mean.
on Facebook on Instagram. Sorry,
Oh
not
yeah,
Facebook,
yeah,
on
yeah,
Instagram.
yeah.
So you're not quite at 1,000. I
I
don't know if that's the
know,
case because I don't think
dude.
anybody really knows how you get
I know,
invited. But
right?
when I hit 1,000 followers on Facebook, which was last week, my stream stopped getting
Congrats.
cut off at 30 minutes. So
Oh,
so we'll get into that in a second, but I think that Meta, whatever the fuck they're calling it, I don't
yeah.
give a shit because I don't like it, but whatever the algorithm says on their AI generated or programmed bullshit says that you have to be over a certain number of followers before you get the invites for things. And then there's
Yeah.
probably a bunch of other hidden checks.
Oh
And
yeah.
as we start growing in followers, I'll try to identify those for you.
That's
But we need to get
cool.
Mike over 1,000 so that we can get that live
Yeah.
producer so that I could stream my radio show to Bellwether Rituals page on Instagram here. And then he can stream his stuff on my stuff. We're still going to do it without Instagram, but the faster we get live producer, hell, I think there's some kind of help button on Instagram. If you guys just go
I
and
will
flood
try
that
that
and
as
say,
well.
"Hey, we want Bellwether Ritual to have live producer," maybe they'll just send them an invite without giving to 1,000. But I don't know if that's going to work.
Yeah,
I
man.
just
So real quick, we hit the wall hard because we were cruising like through 900, and then I feel like as soon as it got to the mid like 920s, it was just like bang, no more, and that's been like
uh,
a real struggle to get through that. But yeah,
yeah,
let me quick read through some of these chats too. Thank you
yep.
for that. Angel always dropping the knowledge. The show on September 9th is $10 in advance, $15 day of show. So that's 4 bands. Awesome deal there. And
So
let's see.
to
Yeah, go ahead.
correct my math on that, if you have $500 to go see Tool, you can bring 50 friends to go see Bellwether Ritual, Hate Machine, Galaxy Has Eyes, and Brutality.
Yes, and have
So all you big spenders on music bands that are going to see Tool, just go see us instead. Go give $500 to the band that needs your
oh my
help.
God.
Not, I mean, I love Danny Carey and I love Maynard, but they have plenty of money, dude. Like
Yeah.
Danny Carey's drum set alone is probably more than some people make in a year, and that's ridiculous. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's my
It's kind of
soapbox that I don't
the
want to get too far
experience
into.
too is like you know, all those people and you're probably pretty far back and you get right up front with people. It's great stuff. Angel says I still have my tape player in the house and pretty sure there's an 8-track player here too. Joe Optimist, thank you for joining, man. Let us know if you got anything in the works or you're gonna do a show soon. Rain Sparkle says, "Wow, you're really taking me back." Let's see here. Borderline says, "Followed." Awesome, thank you. And Jordan says, "Gonna follow for sure as well." Let's see. Oh, Rain says, "We got you." Thank you, everyone. Let's see here. Oh, would love to take a bus to that show. Killer lineup. I love every band. Maybe we can get something together, like a carpool
Party
or something.
bus. I
Yeah,
bet
for
you could
real.
rent a party bus for $500
Yeah. No,
to go from Harrisburg to to go from wherever you're like all meet in Lancaster and take the bus to HMAC. I bet we
yeah,
could
no
do that for
doubt.
five hundred
We
bucks.
could figure something out. We could talk about that, sure. Dave from Chaos Guitar said we dropped off all social media for a month or two and lost a ton of followers and now below 1,000. It's hard. Yeah, I agree. Um, and Rain says yes, please, party bus.
That would be
Cool.
amazing.
Yeah. So, man, I didn't even do the normal like um, opening questions or anything, but I do want to talk about songwriting a little bit because you are a songwriter. You live stream songwriting, which I've done before, which I think is a lot of fun and kind of cool, and you get that back and forth when people jump on and have suggestions or whatever. So I know you mentioned that you got a guitar when you're 15. Can you maybe talk a little bit about like what was there something at that age that kind of was like, oh man, this is awesome. I need to do this, or do you have a family member or something like that first got you into music?
Um, yeah, I had a three ring binder notebooks full of freaking songs that was overlouding, and I said, I don't know how to play an instrument, so how the fuck am I going to turn these into songs?
Yeah.
And so that I picked up a guitar. I wish I would have picked up a piano, but the guitar was easier. But it's funny because my first guitar, and I don't know how the fuck I stayed with this because as soon as I tell you what my first guitar was, you're going to be like, what the hell is wrong with you? My first guitar was an ESP LTV M100, and it had a
Okay.
fucking Floyd Rose on
Oh,
it. It had a Floyd
oh
Rose.
no.
So I don't know why I picked this, but I remember the first time I tried to change strings on it, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And back then you didn't have
Yeah,
the
man.
internet. So the bridge on my Floyd Rose was like jacked up all the way like this, and the strings was like, this isn't
Yeah,
right. It doesn't look
yeah.
like it. And then I had to take it to the guitar shop where I bought it to have them show me how to put the strings on correctly.
Mm.
And then for all the time that I had a guitar, I was cutting the freaking ball end of them off
Oh,
and just kind
yeah.
of stuffing it into the place where it meets, and then you tune it down right at the
Uh-huh.
bottom
Uh-huh.
because you would put it in the bridge like that
Yeah.
way. And then I saw somebody with the Floyd Rose at a show, and it was like maybe 2 years ago that had threaded it through the tuning up on the front and left the ball on and
Backward.
put it down there. And I was just
Yeah.
like, there was
Yeah.
no internet back then, so I
No.
didn't have anybody to tell me best practices on that stuff. Yeah, I know. I know, right? The borderline. I honestly don't know how I stuck with it because I had that guitar for 5 years and then I played it and learned on it. And I didn't even have an amplifier because I was poor. I grew up in a trailer park, and
Oh,
so I had
yeah.
saved up money from mowing lawns and doing odd jobs around the neighborhood to buy this guitar that was like $500. I didn't even have an amp.
Yeah,
So for
man.
like 5 years after I
Yeah.
bought this, or maybe 3 years after I bought this guitar, I didn't even have an amp for it. So I'm just
Yeah.
happily strumming away with that like dull, no amplifier on a like the pickups did. I swear to God, the pickups on that guitar did not even get used for 3 years because I was playing it like an
Yeah,
acoustic guitar. I
man.
had no idea what the hell I was doing. I just bought a guitar that I thought looked cool
Yeah.
and tried to learn how to play it. But eventually, I did get an acoustic guitar, and that's when I started learning how to sing and play,
Mm.
which happened about maybe 3, 4 years after I first started playing guitar. But I taught myself because I couldn't afford lessons, so I got all these bad habits. Um, and then I went to college and stopped playing guitar while I got my degree. And then as soon as I got out, I picked it up again, and I actually started using YouTube to learn stuff because back
Mm-hmm.
in the 90s, you didn't have YouTube to learn a guitar. Hell, you barely had like guitar tabs to pull off the internet at
Yeah.
that time.
Or
So
just books. Yeah.
when I learned how to play guitar for the first year, it was like going around and, hey, what song do you know?
Yeah.
Like with your friends who would play guitar, and then they would teach you a power chord or two, and then you would learn, oh, that works all the way up the fret. And then they were like, I know Green Day, and I know Glycerin by Bush,
Oh, yeah.
and then you would go, hey, the chords for When I Come Around and
Are the
Glycerin are very
same.
similar, and so you would learn all this stuff like through working with other people in the area, and now you can just go on YouTube and learn. And I think I really started to learn how to play guitar well after I came back to it after college and started using YouTube to learn techniques.
Mhm.
And one thing I'm really bad at that most people might use to learn, I didn't bother to learn covers. I
Oh,
just had music in my head
interesting.
and I tried to translate it into the guitar, which is where I said I taught myself. It was really like, I'm just going to write a song. And some of my first songs were super crappy, just because it was crappy power chords and my finger wasn't even strong enough
Yeah.
to hold down the bar properly. And then I just, even now, like I played in a cover band a few years ago, not just covers, we did originals too, but it was really hard for me to learn other people's songs. Like I'm just not good at that unless
Yeah.
I'm singing them, because singing is also something I do, but I just, I'm just not really into it either. Like I said earlier, I use music as an expression of, what's going on in my life, or the
Yeah,
things that I
man.
think about is like in journaling. And I can't do that if I'm playing Freebird. So,
Part of me is like, I think it would be good. Like, I never went to, so I got hooked on Nirvana. I was at the right age for that. And my friend came over with a guitar he built from a kit and played Come As You Are in 2 minutes and then taught me in the next 5 minutes. And I was like, holy shit, I could do this. It just took like that one little, someone showing you something of like, this is how you do it. And all that, like, magic and mystique kind of goes away and just like, oh no, it's just doing this. And then I went down that rabbit hole. But similarly, people think I hate cover bands or something, and I don't. They're just not. It's not where my interest lies, and they have a great niche, especially like in the area. Like there's a big uh, uh, audience for that, and that's great. But it was the
I
same. It
mean,
was more
they
like,
make money at a gig, right? They'll go
yeah,
to a
what
bar,
is
and
that?
if they're playing
Wait a
3 hours
second.
of songs, yeah, they make money. I have a buddy who plays in a 90. It's called NES, 90s Entertainment System. He plays 90s
Nice.
music, and
Yeah,
when he plays out, the whole band gets money when they leave
yeah.
because they're playing covers, and that's valuable to a bar.
That's the trade-off.
That's
Yeah.
great. It's the trade-off. Like I respect cover because I know I can't do it like they can do it. Like my buddy Chris, he plays probably the best guitar all around that
Hmm.
I've heard from somebody, but he plays in a cover band because that's what he likes to do,
Hmm.
and there's nothing wrong with that. Like
No.
if you're going to be in a cover band, that's great, but my interest is in original music and other people's original music, and that's what I want to listen to.
Yeah.
So
That expression. Yeah, it really is magical. Um, all right. So let's see here. How about like, can you just walk us, since we're on songwriting right quick, do you have like a formula that you like to use? There's got to be like techniques or something. It was cool that you did it live. Yeah, maybe just talk
yeah,
about a few of those things.
so I've only done it live once, and it was last Saturday, and I'm gonna do it again this weekend probably, but like I don't have time to do a bunch of stuff, so it was like at midnight,
Yeah.
and that's probably when I'll end up doing that stuff, and it'll be totally unannounced. It'll just happen when it happens. Could be on a
Yeah.
weekday, could be on a weekend. It just depends what's going on. But I don't know. When I'm writing music, I kind of try to find a riff where and this is pretty common because I've asked the same question, Mike. You probably heard this answer. I try to find a riff that sounds cool. I play right now in the music that I'm doing a baritone guitar, and we've talked about it on
Oh,
my show with other
nice.
people because I've got
Yeah.
three baritone guitars on my
Oh,
wall,
man.
and so anytime
Oh,
anytime people come in and they see these baritone guitars, they're like, "That's a cool looking guitar. What is that? That's
yeah.
really long. That's a really long neck." And then I'm like,
Yeah.
"Well, that's my Dan Electro. It's got 29-inch scale length." And but my guitar is tuned to G sharp standard, and
Whew.
if you drop it, it's F sharp, so it's way low.
Wow.
And I play. So when I was doing the stream the other day, it was in that tuning, and so I dropped it to F sharp, and it's low. It's really low, and I do a lot of finger picking in that tuning. I play slide. I really like
Really?
slide, and it took me. It took it. Slide is like, and slide is probably my favorite sound that a guitar makes.
Glass or
I
metal?
don't know
Oh,
why. Uh, I mean, for me, I use a brass
brass.
because it has a better resonance,
Yeah.
and I also play. more like I like distorted. So I have a resonator guitar, and you don't
Yeah.
see it a lot because it's on the wall that doesn't face the cameras,
Hmm.
but it's a resonator electric guitar. And that
Cool.
thing makes some weird sounds when you start doing it. Like I used to play Hey Man, Nice Shot with it, and I would be able to get all those like weird noises that they use with a MIDI controller out of that
Mm.
guitar.
Mm.
But and then I used it on two of my songs. So I had a project during COVID, which was like looking at polit, polit uh, God, I'm trying to say the right thing here, but looking at the political landscape during COVID, and even just like today, like I have a song about, being yourself called Paint Your Portrait.
Mm.
And it was really about like allowing people to choose their genders. And when you look at the cover of it, it's very trans. The imagery on it, my sister drew it for me.
Hmm.
She actually drew all the covers except for one, which
That's
was
cool.
anyway. But for that song, I used that guitar to create like an ambience, kind of like a dream pop or shoegaze sound, like you might hear
Hmm.
from like Sonic Youth or some of those bands. But I used that guitar to create that like a soundscape. And that song has been played on our database because it's shuffled. I don't pick that
Oh,
song, by the way. I try not to promote it.
what
And
is
then
the
whenever
what
I
is the
go and
name?
like, it's called the name of the project was Founding Farther. So
Okay,
founding,
cool.
like founding
All right.
father, but founding farther, like trying to
Yeah.
found something better than what we've got now. And that song though was a lot of fun for me because I learned the technique of changing the tempo between chorus and
Oh
verse,
yeah.
and then also and then like doing a ramp up at the end. So I have slide solos all through that song, ambient noises that come out of that resonator guitar. And if people aren't familiar with the resonator, it's those ones that have that giant metal circle in the middle,
Hmm.
and that giant metal circle creates like a metallic sound. And if you throw distortion into that guitar, it
Mm.
gets really wacky. I used to play a version of Zero with that guitar where I would just
Hmm.
take a slide and I go, "Wah," and it would create same sound that they would make with their whammy, not their whammy. The what's that one that they use a lot in Zero? The one that goes, I don't remember the name of that pedal because I don't really do pedals. But
Like a pitch
anyway,
shifter?
yeah, it was a pitch shifter, like that
Okay.
thing. It had the one that my buddy Nelson uses has a specific name, and it's red.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't remember
Oh,
the
I
name
don't
of
know.
it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but anyway, so then it goes to the end and it plays a fully distorted slide guitar too. And I just like and I have several other songs that I finished and mastered that are just sitting in a box right now because I'm not sure, like some of the stuff gets to a point where you're not sure if you want to release it because it's can be super inflammatory to certain people, and so
Mm-hmm.
it's sitting in the back waiting for my opportunity to release this stuff. Like very like very social justice focused, very because I am a very big, like the core of my being is that everybody needs to be who they are, and everybody needs to have the opportunity to express themselves in a way that's free from judgment. It doesn't matter what you look like or what your sexual orientation is or any of that. And I think it's terrible that we live in a time where people are trying to bring that kind of stuff back. And I'm also, very, very focused on a couple things regarding that, but I don't want to get into that. We can have another conversation at some other time because we only got a few minutes
Yes,
left, and I want to
sure.
focus on people's music, not mine necessarily. I like my music. I think it's very good. And to this point of the songwriting thing, when I had that last Saturday, a guy just jumped in, and I have all these riffs that don't have lyrics. I come up with a riff. It's kind of like, okay, that thing sounds cool, and then I try to like when one of the things, if you sing and you play guitar, one of the hardest things to do sometimes is to sing and play guitar.
Yeah.
And so when I come up with a new lick that's complicated, especially when I'm using these finger picking techniques that I learned to
Hmm.
play slide with,
Hmm.
um, it's very hard to kind of just start singing. And so what I was doing on Saturday is I would start talking. And if you watch the video on YouTube, you can see when I get towards the end, I had literally just come up with this riff.
Cool.
And as I'm playing the riff, and I wish I had my guitar because I busted out and like you hear it with the shitty iPhone
Yeah.
speakers. But
Yeah.
it was I come up with this riff, and as I'm going, I was like, I just start talking while I'm playing it to get the like kind of cadence. And then as I'm going through it, I'll mess up, right? Because I'll start doing too much and get
Hmm.
out of it, and then I'll come back and I'll start, you know, trying to put melodies into it now. So after I've got it down that I can talk and play at the same time, which talking is easier to do than singing, then I start trying to make it into like quick beat, right? So then my talking will become more rhythmic to whatever I'm doing.
Hmm.
And then it'll evolve into like a melody as I'm doing it. So you go from something easy, something a little harder, something more hard, and then eventually what I start singing on that particular songwriting thing is a somewhat complicated melody. But the other thing that happened is the guy showed up and I don't have lyrics, and I do a lot of improv lyrics. I've done it on stage at open mics. I've done it other places where I'll
Hmm.
just be like, give me 2 words, and then I'll sing a song about it. So when I played in the Ro-Bison, which before COVID or after COVID, it was right after COVID, we played with Nailbite, and the band I was playing in, we did that. We'd come up with this riff. I said, get Michael, he was the drummer. I said, give me 2 words. He says school bus. And all of a sudden the song turns into Don't Drive the School Bus Drunk. And it's about a bus driver who's driving a school bus drunk and like going around, and it's very heavy riffs. I mean, it's a great song. I don't know if we didn't ever record it, but it was fun, and it was a fun song to write because he just said school bus, and then all of a sudden it turned into that. And then on the stream last week, the guy had done, he said food dog, and he thought that was going to be complicated for me to talk about a dog that eats everything in sight. He's my food dog, right?
Yeah,
It was fun, and I like doing that, and I plan to do more of those kind of things.
very cool. And I think that ultimately that's the whole point, right? Having fun.
Exactly.
All right. Yeah. So we are. It's a good place to wrap it up. We're just at about an hour. Do you want to just go through everything one more time? Let everyone know where they can find you and follow you and all that good stuff, and we'll wrap it up.
Well, I want them to follow you and get all their friends to follow you so that you
Oh,
can
well,
get access to live
thank you.
producers. So
Yeah.
so do that. Because like once Mike gets live producer, we can start streaming the radio show to Instagram, where there's a very
Yeah.
strong following of people, and we want to get everyone's music out there. And one thing I didn't touch on that I hope you just give me like a couple more minutes to like say,
Sure.
when I started the radio project where we have the radio thing in the background, I really wanted to focus on Central PA bands, and it was kind of like let's keep it smaller, let's keep it going. But the response that I got from people outside of PA, like Adam Kitchen is in Colorado. He used to live in Lock Haven, and Two for Flinching and them are friends,
Hmm.
and he connected me with them to get them on my stream. But it started becoming more than just here, and I think
That's how
it's
it happens.
important that we bring in bands from outside of it, because what I
Totally.
really want to see happen is that when we have our local band play at HMAC, like we have like, so Hate Machine's a heavier band. So
Hell yeah.
the Plan, who's from Fredericksburg, Virginia, should come up and play, and
Yes.
then Hate Machine should go down to Fredericksburg. And like, if we can get a band from Colorado to come here, maybe one of our bands could go out to Colorado. And it's really like trying to network that whole thing so that we're connected to multiple places and we have more people coming from other areas and match up with the other genres, like with the
That's how
different
the
genres that are here in
whole thing
PA.
works, y'all. Yep.
Yep.
So,
So sorry, I
no,
didn't mean to go over.
totally
I could
cool.
probably, even though I'm extremely tired because we're on hour 38, I would probably talk for another hour if people wanted to listen to me. But
There you go. Are you seeing anything yet? I have any
no, no.
hallucinations?
But I will say this is like the first time I've stayed up this late, like in a row for probably at least.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
I'll send you. So Borderline wants to go to Colorado. That would be awesome. And if I ever see you playing at Red Rocks, I will do everything in my power to get a party bus to drive us from here to Colorado to watch the Borderline play at Red Rocks.
Fuck man. I'd play at the Red Pebble down the street. I don't give a shit. I just be able to get out there.
I'd stand in the canyon 20 miles up
Yeah.
in and just play on the side of the
Yeah.
road because
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
beautiful scenery out there. I've
Yeah.
been there a few times, but I have not actually watched a concert in Red Rocks.
I
And
haven't either. Yeah.
I probably won't unless a local band or a band on my show ends up playing on there and in the Red Rocks.
Well, let's get to it,
Anyway,
fellas. Yeah. And Marty says, agreed. Great stuff. Glad to hear you're working together. Thank you, Marty. And yeah, let's wrap it there. Just let everyone know where they can find you, when you're streaming, and then we
yep.
can go from there.
So the morning shuffle is generally every 7:30 in the morning from 7:30 until at least 8:30. Sometimes I start it early, sometimes I run it late, but it's every weekday morning. And then on Saturdays we have the tempo, and this week we have Cody Tyler, who's one of the biggest country acts in this area. Like he's got almost
Country's
5,000
huge here.
followers.
Yeah.
It is, and I mean that's because we're in technically rural Pennsylvania, even though we can get to anything that the city has pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that's this Saturday from 11. He'll be playing acoustic set and co-hosting, and then the following Saturday we have the plan on an artist spotlight and in a Zoom interview. So we do those every Saturday too, or most Saturdays. Like you said, I got life, right? Everybody's got life, so sometimes I can't do that on the schedule, but I try to keep as close and consistent to a schedule as I can.
All right, very cool. There you have it, Ro-Bison.
Oh yeah, and follow me on TikTok so I can start streaming on TikTok. That's very important to me right now. I'm already halfway there. And so when I hit 1,000, if one of you guys happens to be the 1,000th follower, I will ping you and give you something. Give you a merch special of some kind. I don't know what it's going to be, but I've had bands sign a bunch of shit on my show, and maybe it'll be something like that.
There you go.
Oh yeah, and follow my Instagram too.
Yeah, we appreciate all that. Yeah, so thank you for doing this. Thank you everyone for jumping in and commenting. That was a really good show tonight. So we appreciate it all, and we will see you next week, if not sooner. Have a good night, everyone. All right, thanks, dude. Bye-bye. Yep.